1530 at Hotmail.
And then after that,
Thank you for listening. Your hometown radio station is AM 1530, WBBF, and 99.7 FM.
If you are 75 years or older and suffer from food insecurity, the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry is here to help. We serve the families of Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Please leave a message on our pantry hotline at 508-947-1717. Call back to gather some needed information. Obtain a list of groceries. These will be collected for you and delivered
Hello,
to
everybody.
your home free of charge. May the good Lord bless you and keep you safe.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
234.
It's time for Middleboro Matters on WBBF 1530 AM and 99.7 FM. Hosted by Joey Driscoll. Call in at 508-822-1106. And now, here is Joey Driscoll with Middleboro Matters.
And it is Joey Driscoll, and it is Middleboro Matters. I am him. I am Joey. It is the 30th of March, 2026. It's the final Monday of the month of March. 3 months. 3 months done, pretty much. Tomorrow is the last day of March. We're heading into now April. Warmer weather is coming. You know, it might take a little bit to get here, but it's coming. It's nice today. Very nice weather today. Take a quick look at the weather here real quick. Nice day today, though. And we're going to have some pretty nice days coming up. 55 degrees right now. High of 62 today with a low of 39. And there's a little bit of wind. So that is... That is something to keep an eye on as well. A little bit of wind out there, which makes it feel a little bit cooler. Makes it feel like it's in the low 40s. That wind is going to continue throughout the day today, but it will get warmer. So that feels like temperature will go up a little bit. And it won't be a bad day today, but it'll be in the 60s today for the real temperature. 65 tomorrow with a pretty significant chance of rain, 95% chance of rain, low of just 50. So it'll be very nice tomorrow. Other than the rain, of course, but it should be pretty nice in Taunton. We are, by the way, broadcasting outside of our Hong Kong. We're broadcasting here at our Hong Kong City studios here in Taunton. So, yes, I wanted to mention that. Wednesday for the weather there. 74 degrees is what is being forecasted right now with, of course, rain, unfortunately. 85% chance of rain, maybe some heavier rain at times with thunderstorms, things like that. Low of 45, and then on Thursday it goes right back down to 45 degrees for the high, 37 for the low on Thursday with a chance of rain at 80%, and then temperatures go right back up after that. So up and down with the temperatures, which, just to be expected in the springtime. But there you go. In Middleboro, kind of the same thing. Temperatures in the 60s. Wednesday, 73 degrees in Middleboro, and then temperatures kind of staying around the same temperature in Middleboro. And when it comes to the weather, I also, during the Sunday program, I always talk about one of these other locations as well. I do 3 other locations. I do 2 Driscolls. My last name is Driscoll. So I added 2 town names that bear my last name and have my last name. And one of those happens to be Driscoll, Texas. I'll talk about this real quick, just as a comparison to what we're seeing here weather-wise. 76 right now in Driscoll, Texas, a high of 85, low of 68 today, cloudy and windy throughout the day, and pretty windy, gusts up to 20 miles per hour there in Driscoll, Texas. Driscoll, Texas is a town just outside of Corpus Christi. Just for people who want to know where that is on the map. And also the other Driscoll I talked about is Driscoll, North Dakota. That is just that is halfway between, I believe, Billings and Fargo, I believe. And that's a much smaller town than Driscoll, Texas there. Anyway, that's your weather for today. It's 11:12 a.m. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to have a sports segment. We're going to talk about March Madness, give an update on what's going on with March Madness. We are in pretty much the final couple of games here. We're into the Final Four on the men's side. Final Four on the men's side has been set. We'll talk a little bit about that. The women, you will find out who is in the Final Four tonight when day 2 of the Elite Eight ends. So there you go. UConn is still in it. UConn took care of business there in the Elite Eight, which I expected, and it wasn't really that close. They did have some struggles shooting the ball a little bit and kind of slow starts. That is kind of what has been going on with UConn actually in this tournament. Slow starts, but except for the one game, I think. There was a couple of games where they had some slow starts in this tournament. But, they've still dominated teams, basically. I think, that game that was on yesterday against North Carolina, that was the closest that they've gotten it to being competitive in a while for a UConn game. I believe that if we get a UConn versus UCLA final, that final is going to be extremely competitive and extremely entertaining. I think that would be an amazing final to have, UCLA and UConn. We'll have to see what happens in the Final Four. South Carolina is still in it. South Carolina could play spoiler. They're a pretty good team too. So we'll have to see with that one. I think we're heading towards South Carolina and UConn in the Final Four. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll give an update on the Red Sox, give an update on the Worcester Red Sox, give an update on everybody else in the MILB who begin this week. I believe Thursday is when they begin. April the 2nd. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Talk a little bit about the Red Sox and what my thoughts were coming out of that first series in Cincinnati. They're heading to Houston tonight. They'll start a series there. It's a 3-game series with Houston, and then they'll head to Fenway. So we'll have to see what happens in this Houston series. I'll go over the lineup for Houston as well. As I think I've mentioned this before, Houston has had a very good offseason. They brought a lot of players that used to be on Houston, the Astros, back for another stint with them, and we'll talk a little bit about their lineup because it's really good. It's really good. Houston's lineup. I mean, it's not a Dodgers kind of thing. It's not, it's not the Dodgers level good, but it's still a very good lineup. So we'll have to kind of talk about that when we talk about the Red Sox here today. But you have phone calls, 508-822-1106. We'll also have a transportation segment as well. I'll try to have a transportation segment, go over some things that will be happening for the NBCA in April. We are now past the 1-year mark as well. Happened a couple of weeks ago. Actually, no, it happened last week. The last week, we hit the 1-year mark of South Coast Rail. What are your thoughts? If you're in the area and have taken the South Coast Rail line, What is your thoughts as we have hit the 1 year mark of South Coast Rail? 508-822-1106 is the number to call on that as well. All right, 11:16 a.m. Let's take our first commercial break right now. We'll get right into it. We'll coming up here, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of things here that I want to mention off top for Middleboro, because there's a couple of big things happening this week. The dog licenses, which that 3-month grace period ends tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I mentioned, yes, on yesterday's show, the Middleboro Review Show, that I would be mentioning it here on Middleboro Matters. I'll also go over one more time between now and the election, probably today as well, the town election for Middleboro and what to expect there, the polling locations and stuff like that. So we'll go over that on today's show as well, and of course our sports and our transportation and your phone calls. 508-822-1106. Let's take our first commercial break right now. We'll be right back. $391.
Hi neighbor, Middleboro Gas Electric would like to share a quick safety tip with you. Whether you're planting shrubs or putting in a new mailbox, Dig Safe will help locate underground pipes and wires on your property and mark them to help prevent any damage. Before you dig, you must call 811 for any project that requires digging, drilling, excavating, grading, or trenching. A damaged gas line may create an exploding hazard that could result in loss of service, severe property damage, or worse. Don't take a chance. Call 811 before you dig.
Okay, 278.
Hi, I'm Chris Keesh of the Morning Wake Up News here at WBBF. My good friend Joey Driscoll has an amazing program all about Middleboro Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's called Middleboro in Review. He talks about sports. He talks about local events in Middleboro and anything of interest in Middleboro and beyond. So join him, Middleboro in Review with Joey Driscoll, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. only here at AM 1530 WVBF and at 99.7 FM.
Okay. 236. All right, we're back. 11:20 a.m. here. 11:20 a.m. Middleboro Matters. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2026. I am Joey Driscoll. Open phone lines today, 508-822-1106. If you want to call in and talk about what is on your mind this morning, definitely do so. 508-822-1106. All right, a couple of big things happening this week. The 3-month grace period for dog licensing in Middleboro, that will end tomorrow. I mention this every year, and I almost forgot to mention it this year. I mentioned it a couple times last week. Mentioning it here today. This will be the last time I'm going to mention it for a little bit until probably the end of April. And I'll get to why there when I get to that part of this here. But the 3-month grace period, the registration period, will end tomorrow. Dog licenses and tags, they're available at the town clerk's office Every year they have a registration period from January 1st until the 31st of March. And dogs licensed after this is why I'm going to be mentioning this again probably later on in the month of April. A dog license between April 1st and April 30th will be assessed a late fee of $10 per dog. Dog licenses which are not renewed by the 1st of May, they're subject to a $50 fine. Late fees and citation fees are in addition to dog license fees. And for new dogs can still be licensed at any time without incurring a late fee. So I just want to make sure I mentioned that as well. Any new dogs being licensed can be licensed at any time without incurring a late fee. The documentation you need to have to license a dog are as follows: a certificate of current rabies vaccination, certificate of spraying and neutering, and a dog license payment which is made payable to the town of Middleboro, including self-addressed stamped envelope. And the fee schedule here for this one, or the fees for this dog license renewals, are as follows: male unaltered $15, female unaltered $15, a neutered male $10, sprayed female also $10, owners of a dog 70 and older free, and of course we're talking about the late fee is $10 between April 1st and 30th, and then the citation fee $50 after the 1st of May. So I'll mention this one more time or so before May 1st. Just so I can get the information out there again. So if there's anybody who hasn't renewed their license for your dog, you got a couple of more days to do so. Again, Wednesday is April 1st. We still got today and tomorrow. So just wanted to talk about that. I always talk about that every single year because I think that's important information to get out there for Middleboro. So, okay, we have that done. The election now. Over the past, I think I've done this twice already, but I'm going to do this one more time here today. Is go over the ballot. And I've done this for Middleboro Review, and I've done this for Hometown Talk, I believe. So, Middleboro Matters. I haven't done it for Middleboro Matters yet, so I'm going to go on in the. I don't think I have done it for Middleboro Matters. I might have last week. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But, well, do it again if I did last week. Go over the ballot one more time before the election this week. Those elections coming up on April the 4th. Now, the town meeting that was supposed to happen, I think it was supposed to happen 2 weeks after this election coming up on April the 4th, will not be happening until May. It has been pushed back due to figuring out of the town budget. There's some things going on there where it has caused the town to take a step back and reschedule the town meeting. Town meeting will still happen. It will be later on. It will be in I believe sometime in May is when that will happen. I believe I saw May 18th or one of those dates there. So keep an eye on that as well. Again, town meeting will happen a little bit later on than originally scheduled. But the town election is still on for April the 4th. I haven't seen anything saying it's getting postponed or pushed back or anything like that. So it is still April the 4th. For the select board, this is what will be on the ballot for the election here. For select board, Mark A. Germain and Thomas White are on the ballot running for re-election. Also on the ballot as well, Tracy Craig McGee. Gas and electric commissioners. Oh, and by the way, for the select board, that's a 3-year term. For gas and electric, a 3-year term, and there's one on the ballot, Ellen Farley Wiley, running for re-election unopposed. School committee. Now, school committee, I think out of all these races, school committee has the most going on. Again, there's 2 seats up for election, and there are a lot of names to talk about here. So let's start off with the 3-year term. Vote for 3. And if I can kind of zoom in here. There we go, because I can't see it. All right. For the 3-year term, you can vote for 3. There are 2 candidates running for re-election, and that is Jessica Chartoff and Alan Frawley. They're running for re-election. Alexander Cook running as well for that. Leah Machado is running as well for a 3-year term. And Sean Mockler running as well. Christian Phillips running. And there's one other name on here, Robert Sullivan. I've talked about that before. He has mentioned in a school committee meeting that he is not running for school committee. So, there you go. School committee. There's also another seat available, and that would be a 1-year seat. And that is one name on the ballot. So running unopposed, Kimberly Redlawn. So there you go. Well, it says only vote for 1 anyway. So not technically running unopposed, but the only person on the ballot for that seat. So there you go. That's school committee. There's a lot of names there on that one. That's probably the race that everyone is keeping an eye on and talking about. I believe there's one seat that's a new seat in there, and then I believe it's another seat that is filling out an unexpired term, potentially, as well. So that's why there's a couple of seats here available for the school committee. So looks like you'll see a couple of new names there on the school committee. Board of Assessors. There is one on the ballot, running for re-election unopposed, Paula M. Burdick, 3-year term on the Board of Assessors. Finance Committee, Alan Kirshner and Matthew Phillips, running for re-election. Nathan Demers also on the ballot there for the Finance Committee. Planning Board, running for re-election unopposed. Vote for 1. Again, unopposed is Alan Frawley there for the Planning Board, running for re-election. 5-year term there. Park Commissioners, Judith Bigelow Costa running for re-election. Don Savory running for re-election as well for a 3-year term for a Park Commissioner. Housing Authority, there we go. The Housing Authority, Nancy J. Thomas and Sarah K. Person. Nancy Thomas running for re-election. That's a 5-year term. Vote for 1. So there you go. So that is your town election ballot. A lot going on. And then the dates to remember. Again, the election is on April the 4th. That's a Saturday. And the precincts. Precinct number 1, Oak Point Clubhouse, 202 Oak Point Drive. Precinct 2 and 4. And that is going to be the Middleboro High School, 71 East Grove Street. Precinct 3, South Middleboro Fire Station, 566 Wareham Street. Then you have Precinct 5 and 5A on the Council on Aging, 558 Plymouth Street. In 7 and 7A, which is John T. Nichols Jr. Middle School, 112 Tiger Drive. For that one. So there you go for the annual town election. What are your thoughts? 508-822-1106. What are your thoughts on everything I've talked about here in the first half of the program? 508-822-1106 is the number. We will be right back after this news break.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Shamma. President Trump is threatening to seize Iran's main oil terminal in the Persian Gulf.
Trump has told the Financial Times the U.S. has, quote, a lot of options and that troops could stay on the island for a while. Iran has threatened to mine the Persian Gulf if its territory is invaded. The U.S. and Israel kept
Siri,
up
call
attacks on
Pastor
Iran.
Vandross.
Even its early ceasefire talks showed some progress.
Calling Pastor.
Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One Sunday, Trump said the U.S. has been negotiating with Iran both directly and indirectly.
We're doing extremely well in that negotiation. But you never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up.
Trump also said Iran has agreed to let 20 oil ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm Mike Hempton.
The Homeland Security budget impasse in Congress has seen thousands of TSA workers go without pay for more than a month. Hundreds of those airport security officers have quit. Some relief is on the way thanks to President Trump. Executive order means that paychecks will start going out as soon as today. Senator Tom Cotton says the budget standoff has gone on for way too long.
Democrats continue to blockade that funding. That's why you see long lines at the airports. We've got our Coast Guard shut down, and we are steadily draining resources from immigration enforcement as well. So we might have to use reconciliation, the fast track budget procedure to fund the Department of Homeland Security.
The Arkansas Republican on the Salem Radio Network. President
At
Trump ordered
Calvary.
ICE agents to help with security at the airport.
Beyond a
And
reasonable
at some of
doubt,
the airports, the delays
and
are starting
Jesus
to
Christ the
ease
goat.
a bit. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks
Calvary,
currently
okay.
in positive
Sounds
territory
good.
with the
Put that
Dow
on
up
top.
about 400
Actually, I'll put that
points.
aside so I
Nasdaq
don't.
is ahead 65, and the S&P trading 35
I
points.
just, I did notice that the Easter message
If you don't care
was on
about
top.
saving 50%
I got that
off
one
your wireless
first.
bill for the same 5G coverage that big guys
So I didn't
are
notice I was
charging a
playing that
fortune
until like
for,
halfway
maybe you
through.
care about keeping jobs in America.
Because I had a whole bunch of other stuff
They
going
pledge
on
to run
yesterday
their
too.
entire operation
So-
in this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization
that sounds good.
working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or
Thank you. All right,
maybe you
bye-bye.
care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Australian police have killed a suspect 7 months after he allegedly shot and killed 2 police officers.
Jesse Freeman hadn't been seen since vanishing into bushland after shooting at officers who'd come to his rural home with an arrest warrant for alleged sexual offences. Detective leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim Devor-Potok died. A third officer was injured. What followed
About
was
a minute and a half to go until we go to our second half of the program. I'm going to focus on some local stuff to start, and then some sports, and then transportation to end the program today. All right, 11:35.
The BBC's Simon Atkinson. NASA targeting the first week in April for humanity's first trip to the moon in more than 50 years. The crew will consist of 4 astronauts. They will circle the moon. News and analysis, townhall.com.
That's interesting.
This year's men's NCAA basketball tournament is down to its last participants.
The Final Four is set. Illinois will face UConn, and Michigan will take on Arizona next Saturday. The Arizona-Michigan game is a matchup of top seeds. UConn, after a 19-point comeback for a 73-72 win over Duke, is seeded second and will play number 3 seed Illinois. The Huskies beat Duke with a 3-pointer from the logo with 0.4 seconds left by Braylon Mullins, who grew up just outside of Indianapolis. Arizona is the early favorite to take the title game next Monday in Indianapolis, according to BetMGM Sportsbook, followed closely by Michigan. I'm Kevin Poolbaugh.
Hundreds of workers at one of the U.S. Navy's largest shipbuilding contractors have voted to approve
I think
a
you gotta
brand new
talk about
contract
UConn.
with Bath Iron
No, I
Works.
think at this point.
The approval vote over the weekend brings to an end a week-long strike. More on these stories, townhall.com.
All right. All right. Today is what? It's Holy Week. Today is Monday. Monday. Holy Week. And welcome back. It is Monday, March 30th, 2026. Monday, March 30th, 2026. And it is Holy Week as well. We're going to talk about on Friday some of the Easter events happening in the area again during the first hour. Just so people can get all that information because it's going to be a busy couple of days this week. It is Holy Week this week. Today's Holy Monday. Again, every day there will be a different day there. Again, for Holy Week. So a lot of events happening this week, especially for Easter holiday coming up this weekend, this Sunday. So that will be something that we'll be talking about here all week. So keep listening as well if you want to hear some of the events happening this week on that. All right. So other events happening. And one of the events here, I'll talk about this now because it looks like this is something that's pretty big in this area here in Raynham, is Breakfast with the Easter Bunny. That will be, there are several events actually where there will be like photo opportunities for with the Easter Bunny or breakfast with the Easter Bunny. There's a lot of these events in different areas here and around Taunton and around this area. Raynham being one of them. Saturday, April the 4th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Raynham Lions Club, 2234 King Philip Street. Children 10 and under can enjoy a free breakfast and receive a special gift from the Easter Bunny. The first responders, police, fire, and highway departments are also invited and are encouraged to join because their breakfasts will also be provided at no charge. That's happening this week, this weekend, Saturday. Happening Friday is the Taunton Lodge of Elks Clam and Chowder for Good Friday. That is going to take place on Friday, April the 3rd. Lunch at 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Dinner at 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. $12 per serving, all you can eat, dine in only. Takeout is available. You can call 508-824-1500. And the Taunton Lodge of Elks is located at the start. Let me start that over. Apologize. Let me start that over. Taunton Lodge of Elks 150 is located in Miles Standish Industrial Park, which is located at 775 John Quincy Adams Road in Taunton. And again, the number is 508-824-1500 for any takeout that you want to do for that event. Again, that's coming up on Friday. That's Good Friday. Next weekend, there's a big event in Middleboro, and we've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it again this week. And next week, as it gets closer, and we talk about some of the events that will happen with this. I think I have a list, I think there's a list of things that are going to be happening with this event, and I'll talk about that on Friday. I don't have it in front of me right now, so I have to find it, and we'll talk about it on Friday. But the Middleboro Tourism Committee presents the 2026 Herring Run Festival, and I believe it's the 13th Herring Run Festival there. April 11th through the 12th, Saturday and Sunday. Last year was the same date as well. So this that's pretty good. April 11th and 12th. Noon to 4 p.m. Free admission at the Oliver Mill Park in Middleboro, which is on Damascus Street and Route 44. And there are going to be several different things here to look forward to for the Herring Run Festival. Of course, the herring, when they show up, I haven't heard anything online saying that they were there. If anyone knows about that, 508-822-1106, give us a call. Let us know what's happening with that. They are there. And that would be that's always an interesting part of the festival, is getting to see that. But there will be 2 afternoons filled with merchant and artists and vendors. Live music all afternoon, some great live music. I believe that some of the bands have been announced there as well. We'll talk about that on Friday. There will be environmental exhibits, educational booths. This year's partners, that includes the Wildlands Trust, Middleboro / Lakeville Herring Fishing Commission. There we go. Try to pronounce that correctly. And the Middleboro Conservation Commission and the Taunton River Watershed Alliance. Parking options for this event: free parking and shuttles are at the town hall, and $5 paid parking at 99 North Main Street. So there you go. A lot happening with that. All right, let's take our last commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll do our sports. Then we will talk about our transportation. Take your phone calls as well. 508-822-1106. 508-822-1106 is number, and we will be right back.
Hi, neighbor. Middleboro Gas and Electric would like to share a quick safety tip with you.
Play 425.
Many people have been taking on home improvements this year, but have you also upgraded your electrical safety system? Older homes, like so many in our area, have outdated breakers and wiring that may not meet the high-powered needs of modern technology. A licensed electrician knows all the code requirements, including the latest updates adopted just last year. You can find an easy-to-read summary of home upgrades to consider at mged.com.
Hi, this is Paul Lads inviting you to join me Thursday mornings, 9 to 11, here on WVBF AM and FM for Cranberry Country Journal. Still bringing you a slice of life of the people, places, and activities and events that make the Cranberry Country area a special place to call home. Join me Thursday morning, 9 to 11, Cranberry Country Journal on WVBF.
All right, we're back. 11:45 a.m. here. 15 more minutes left in the program here, just about. And we're going to switch over to our sports. Open phone lines today, 508-822-1106, if you want to call in and talk about what's on your mind this morning, whether it be anything going on, if you're in Middleboro, anything going on locally there. If you're in Taunton, anything locally going on there as well. Or any sports related item you want to talk about. We're going to get to our sports here just in about a second. Or a transportation related item. If you have any thoughts on South Coast Rail 1 year later. So we've reached the 1 year mark of South Coast Rail that passed last week, back on the 24th, I believe. was the 1 year anniversary there of the start of South Coast Rail. What are your thoughts? 508-822-1106. We're going to get to our transportation topic immediately following our sports here if we have time. Just kind of looking at the time here and looking at what I need to talk about the sports, and I'm kind of we might not get to transportation today, actually. If we don't, we'll talk about it in the first hour of the Friday program. So stay tuned there. By the way, the second hour of Friday's program will be called Sports once again. That will be me and my friend Eric coming in and talking about all things sports here for the second hour of this program, of the Friday program. There we go. The Friday program of Hometown Talk. So stay tuned for that. That is Friday, April 3rd. We'll be talking about all things sports. I'm sure we'll be talking about the Final Four on both the men and the women's side. And that's where we'll start with our sports segment for today. The Final Four on the men's side has been confirmed. We have two teams on both the men and the women's side this year who are fighting for a national championship on both sides. And that is UConn and Michigan. So everyone's talking about UConn and how if UConn wins the national championship on the men's and the women's side, that people are going to get free furniture. What happens if Michigan wins on both the men and the women's side? What do those fans get? That's something I got to look up this week and see if that's something. They're running something similar like that for the Michigan fans, because that's kind of cool for UConn fans there. Because it's a distinct possibility that both the men and the women win the national championship this year. Going into the tournament, I didn't think so. I thought UConn would probably lose in the Sweet 16 and they would be done. On the men's side, they would lose in the Sweet 16 and they would be done. I would thought, it would just be probably the women winning the national championship. I still believe the women will win the national championship. Now I'm, a little less certain on that now, because especially if UCLA is the team they have to face. UCLA is really, really good in this tournament. That is going to be an interesting matchup. Outside of that, if there's anybody else who ends up being, in that championship game other than UCLA against UConn, they're going to lose. UConn has done so well this year. And I think for it not to end in the national championship, I think would be very disappointing for them. But I think it will. I think it will, unless UCLA is in the final. I think UCLA is the only team that can stand up to UConn and give them a fight and potentially win. Another team that actually almost did that this year was Tennessee, and they were in the tournament. Quick little exit, though. But they were in the tournament. They almost beat UConn earlier on in the year. But okay, back to the men's side. On the Final Four side for the men, Illinois, which was a pleasant surprise that they made it to the Final Four. They're in the Final Four. They're taking on UConn, which again another pleasant surprise. And that is going to be a fun one. That is Saturday. Both of these games will be on Saturday. And that will be at 6:09 p.m. The UConn-Illinois game, 6:09 p.m. on TBS, True TV, HBO Max. And on immediately following that game, also on those channels that I just mentioned, 8:49 p.m. is Michigan versus Arizona. Now, these are the number one seeds. These are the two teams that people were talking about to potentially win a national championship. One of these teams will be eliminated after this one, but Arizona, I believe, is the favorite. But Michigan is being favored in this game right now, 1.5. So we'll see. But it's going to be a close game. I think Michigan and Arizona are very good teams. pretty equal, and I think those two teams are going to have a really good Final Four matchup there. So we'll see what happens there. On the women's side, the entire Final Four hasn't been secured yet. It will be after tonight. 2 games tonight. Michigan takes on Texas. That's going to be a tough game for Michigan. They want to make it to the Final Four. That's going to be a tough game. Texas has been very good in this tournament. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be a really interesting game. Another interesting game, TCU is in for a fight against South Carolina. They're in for a fight. 9 p.m. on ESPN. The Michigan and Texas games at 7 p.m. tonight. Also, on ESPN. All these games have pretty much been on ESPN. By the way, the Final Four will be on Friday, and that will be UConn awaiting the winner of TCU and South Carolina. I believe it will be South Carolina most likely, and UCLA is awaiting the winner of Michigan and Texas. That should be a very good matchup. UCLA and Michigan, or UCLA and Texas. Those that will be great. I think all the number 1 seeds will probably make it. Will probably end up making it there to the Final Four at the end of the day, and then we'll see what happens there. Kind of an anticlimactic women's tournament, but. I mean, the number 1 seeds were just that good. The number 1 seeds this year on the women's side were just way too good, and a lot of the teams that were in it really couldn't compete with them for the most part, and that's kind of what you expect, I think, for a tournament like this. The number 1 seeds is supposed to be the favorites, and that's what happened here. So we'll see what happens with this game. I think in the championship, I think it's going to be UConn and UCLA, and I think that will be a very entertaining matchup. But we will see. Okay, switching over now. Quick updates on the Celtics here as I get that up there. There we go. Quick updates on the Celtics. The Celtics take on the Atlanta Hawks tonight, 7:30 p.m. start. This is an important game for Atlanta. They are favored, actually. But this is an important game for Atlanta. Boston's already in the playoffs. They've clinched a playoff spot. And of course, they want to get higher seeding. But I think with these next, the next 12 games or so, they're going to start, I think, taking their foot off the gas a little bit as to not have injuries. I think that's what's going to happen with the Celtics. I think maybe the last couple of games down the stretch, they're going to take their foot off the gas a little bit so that they don't get into any injuries and that they don't have any major injuries going into the playoffs. They want to be as healthy as possible. I think that's what will happen. I suspect the Celtics will win tonight. This will be a tough game because, again, the Atlanta Hawks are fighting for a playoff spot. So we'll have to see what happens in this game here. Lakers, by the way, have a game tonight. And they're taking on the Washington Wizards. That should be an easy win for the Lakers. I feel bad for the Washington Wizards. I really do. They're a team that has really not been too relevant since, if you want to say Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan was playing with them in the early 2000s, I wouldn't disagree with you there. But I would say, for me personally, they haven't really been relevant since the John Wall era. So they're a really bad team. They're a really bad team. I hope they can figure something out over the next couple of years. But they're just in a really bad spot, the Washington Wizards. And I like the Washington Wizards. I do, but again, they're just really badly run. They're really badly run. A good game to watch tonight if you're an NBA fan. After the Celtics game gets done, Pistons and Thunder tonight on NBC and Peacock. 54-20, Detroit Pistons. The Thunder 59-16. Two of the best teams in the league facing off against each other. It could be a potential finals as well, by the way. I want to see the Celtics win the finals. I want to see the Celtics make the finals. But the Pistons are good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons make it to the finals either. That's could be a potential Eastern Conference final. Pistons and Celtics, which if you told me that 5 years ago, that would have been a laughable statement 5 years ago because Detroit was not good 5 years ago. What they've been able to do over the past couple of years has been very good for them. All right, now we take a quick look on the Bruins. Bruins have a tough road ahead. They're trying to fight for a playoff spot. They got a tough game tonight against the Stars. Is it tonight? Tomorrow night. I apologize, not tonight. Tomorrow night on ESPN Plus against the Stars. That should be an interesting game. That should be a very interesting game. They have 2 games against the Lightning as well coming up, who are a very, very good team. They got some tough games coming up in the schedule. This is a really tough stretch. They got to get some wins here, though, to secure a playoff spot. They can secure a playoff spot, I think, in my opinion. I think they're definitely a playoff team. Once they get in, how far can they go? I no clue. No clue. They got so many good teams this year that it's going to be very difficult for them to go that far, I think, in my opinion. Quick update on the Red Sox. I'm sure there are Red Sox fans who are very happy that the Cincinnati Reds series is over, especially after what happened in that second game with the umpire. I won't dwell on it. Just a bad game, and you're gonna get that every once in a while. Not everyone can be perfect when it comes to the officiating, but I mean that was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad officiating thing for those 2 teams to have to deal with. But hopefully you don't see that again this year for the Red Sox. And that was a tough series for the Red Sox against the Reds. But I mean, it's Terry Francona. Terry Francona knows the team quite well. He knows the Red Sox quite well, and he just was able to put a game plan together that was that allowed the Cincinnati Reds to win 2 out of 3 from Boston. But Boston goes on to face the Houston Astros tonight. That is going to be a really tough matchup. Some of the players to keep an eye on, does Roman Anthony bounce back? Roman Anthony had a little bit of a tough series. Willie Abreu already has 2 home runs and 4 RBIs this year as well. He's very, very good. Willie Abreu is very, very good. So keep an eye on him too. It's a pretty even matchup, I think, in my opinion. And the lineup for Houston is very, very good as well. They picked up some really good players in the offseason. They've had some unions with some players that they've had in the past that, the first time around worked out pretty well for them. They won a World Series. So keep an eye on Houston. Anyway, that'll do it for today's program. I hope everyone enjoyed today's program. I will be back next week for another edition of Middleboro Matters, and I'll be back on Friday for another edition of Hometown Talk. Until then, hope everyone has a great week. Bye-bye. go.
For about a week, Emmanuel Damas sought treatment while he was being held at an Arizona Immigration Detention Center. Several detainees later told his family.
I think she could do it. That. Okay, now I'm gonna go here, go over to here, and say goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to today's program. Again, I'll be back again next week for another edition of Middleboro Matters. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Oh, wait a second. No, this is what I want. Here we go. All right, bye-bye, everybody.